How are you? So today I wanted to challenge a very common assumptions. What is that? Most organizations implement virtual desktop as an IT upgrade, right? A remote access solution or a cost optimization exercise or response to hybrid work or work from home kind of scenario. But I wanted to explore a different farming. Virtual desktop is not an IT project. It's a business control strategy. And when leadership understand this shift, the entire conversation changes. So let me start a simple question. Why do companies implement virtual desktop? Usually the answer sounds like we need remote access, we want work from home thing, we want centralized management, we need better security. All are valid, definitely. These are the use case of virtual desktop. But these are surface region. The deeper region is control. Control over data, control over access, control over compliances, control over intellectual property, and control over operational continuity. And control is not an IT objective, it's board level objective. So let me give you a simple example. I just in 1 or 2 days I got an opportunity to talk with one of the publishing company, and they are allowing author, editor, designer to work on sensitive manuscripts from different locations or even in the organization as well without virtual desktop. The document file, the Word file or PDF travels from one laptop to another, one department to another. They download, email, and store locally. Now, this organization has no visibility over where its intellectual property is lives. When they started digging down for the virtual desktop, the file, then they got to know that the file never leaves the data center. You usually access it, but it remains centrally stored. And this is not about convenience. This is about ownership and risk containment. That is business control. So if users are sending data, then definitely author who is writing that book may have big concern कि you are sending my book, my entire thought process to different department. There is no control. So this is big one of the big issue. So another example, consider a financial service firm. They face strict audit requirements and they must prove who access what, from which device, at what time, and at what permission. If employee work locally on unmanaged endpoint, compliance becomes complex. With virtual desktop, sessions are logged centrally. Access policies are enforced centrally. Data never resides on the endpoint. And this reduces audit complexity dramatically. Again, this is not an IT efficiency story, it's governance, right? So when virtual desktop is treated as IT infrastructure, the decision revolves around CPU size, storage IOs, license model, network bandwidth, important but secondary. When it's treated as a business control, the decision shift to data sovereignty, exposure, employee productivity consistency, over operational continuity, cyber resilience, and many more. Now, the CIU and CFO are in the same conversation. Another example we can say during the disruption, pandemic, natural disaster, or political instability, organization that relies on local desktop struggle. And we saw in past when we were facing this COVID. So hardware stuck in office, data a scattered, VPN overloaded, and unsecure home device. Organizations with properly designed virtual desktop environment transitioned in days. Why? Because the workplace are already centralized. The device become irrelevant. That's operation control. So here is something most leadership underestimate. Ransomware does not care about your office location. If your endpoint are weak, your network is exposed, so anything will happen. With virtual desktop, you reduce the attack surface. Endpoint becomes access device, not data storage unit. Even if the laptop is compromised, the core data remains isolated. Security become layered, structured, and intentional. Again, not an IT story, a business survival story. So some companies implement VDI purely for cost optimization. They focus on reducing hardware refresh cycle, extend this device lifespan, lowering management overhead. But the real value is risk comparison. When data is centralized, you reduce leakage, you reduce shadow IT, you reduce compliance penalties, you reduce reputational exposure, and this reduces reduction is visible until something goes wrong. Then it becomes priceless. So the real question any CIO, any IT manager, or any leadership should ask is not can we implement virtual desktop. Rather, it's what level of control do we want over our digital operations? If your answer is high, then virtual desktop becomes strategic. If your answer is casual, it remains a technical project. So many virtual desktop projects fail because they are implemented by IT alone. No business alignment, no user experience focus, no governance clarity. And when users complain about performance, leadership call it an IT failure. But often it's a strategic failure. Virtual desktop must balance control, performance, user experience, security, and when designed correctly, it strengthens all four. So let me now raise a few questions that usually come up when we position virtual desktop this way. So question, is it virtual desktop expensive? It can be if evaluated only on infrastructure cost. But when you evaluate against breach risk, compliance penalties, and business downtime, the equation definitely change. Another question which I generally got, does it reduce productivity? Only if you're poorly designed. When optimized correctly, user experience consistent performance across device and location. And on top of that, the flexibility to work from anywhere and with secure data container, right? Is VPN enough? VPN extends the network. Virtual desktop centralize the workspace. They solve different problems. So we can't compare this with a VPN, right? VPN is just extended LAN kind of environment. But in virtual desktop, you centralize your entire data, workspace, application. So nothing is traveling over the internet, only keystrokes or screen changes. Another question, is this only for large enterprise? No, definitely not. Even mid-size organization or a small size handling sensitive data benefits from centralized control. So let's assume you are a architect and you are designing or your team is sitting on different location and they are designing the architecture of any project. So you want those effort should be containerized, right? So it should not be transferred to your competition. So it totally depends how you are treating business virtual desktop as a IT expense or a business strategic requirement. Another question: what is the biggest mistake companies make? Treating it is a remote access solution instead of a control architecture. If you are treating it as a remote work from home um, type of solution or something that is just helping your user to access the system, then it will be definitely a big mistake because this is beyond that. So let me close this with this thought. Technology decision reveals leadership priorities. If leadership priorities speed alone, they choose tools that move fast. If leadership priorities control, resilience, and long-term governance, they design centralized system. Virtual desktop is not about where employees sit. It is about where control sits. And if this perspective resonated, share it with someone evaluating remote work architecture. Comment with your experience if you are using virtual desktop, or you have ever evaluated the virtual desktop, or you are trying to, or you are going for such a virtual desktop project. Especially if you've seen virtual desktop success or fail, then definitely comment here so that other who are watching this can also get benefited. And follow for upcoming discussions where we go deeper in digital workspace strategy, zero trust access, and modern enterprise control models. Thank you for your time. Let me continue building systems that are not just functional but resilient. So if you like, tomorrow we can do why secure access architecture matter more than faster connectivity. So with this, thank you. Have a great day. Good night. Bye.